and cue. Today, I'll be reviewing, while using, PicoGear's new 2.4 gigahertz dual-channel wireless microphone system. Let me say this right up front. There is a lot to like about this product, and in my mind, it's truly innovative. But like any new product, the devil is in the details. And while there's a lot of positives, there's some areas of this product that have room for improvement. I'll have the details. Stay tuned, because that starts right now on the Gadget Guru. I have a lot to cover in this review because this product is truly unique. But if you don't want to hear my editorials, I'll go in and post a table of contents up here so you can jump to the summaries or my editorial about range or other topics. But in the meantime, let's go in and jump right in. First of all, there's other reviews of this product online. And I meant to have mine up earlier, but I had a cold. I'm just getting over it. If I don't sound my best, well, my apologies. The reviews that are already online are from the first version of this product. This is the second version. There has been some changes, and there's going to be changes to the third generation of the product. If you tried to order the PicoGear, you know that they sell out very quick. They're only sold at this time through the PicoGear website. I have, link information below. There's no affiliate, link on that. I don't get paid. By the way, let me point out that I paid for this unit. The opinions you hear in this video are my own. I don't owe the factory of this product or any other product that I review anything. And let me go in and take one more moment to say this. I'm an old guy. I've been around the block a few times, and I think you'll be hard-pressed to find anybody who's been reviewing products longer than I have. I started in the 1980s, where I had a newspaper column that evolved into a syndicated newspaper column. My work has appeared in USA Today, numerous books, magazines. I'm best known for my decade at NBC's Today Show, and I've always worked under the name The Gadget Guru. So, again, if I'm a little critical in my reviews, it comes from decades of experience. Now, let's go in and jump into the out-of-box experience. First of all, the packaging is really good. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you go through the whole thing. But the first thing you notice, there's a little confusion. If you see other reviews, a lot of people call this the PicoMic. Now, I even contacted them about this. I said, what's the name of this product? And they were a little confused, too. The manufacturer's name is PicoGear. There's two basic aspects of this product. You have this device right here. That's the PicoStream. That connects to your camera or your phone. It has all the settings and everything you need in there. But the main attraction of this is this right here, the PicoMic. I have one clipped on right here. This is the second channel right here. This is absolutely the tiniest microphone that I've ever used. So when you look at this, we're just going to call this either the PicoGear or PicoMic. It would be nice if they had a name for all that, for the entire bundle. Now, when you open it up, you have a nice semi-hard shell. And, what's in here, you have a cable that connects the main unit, the PicoStream, to your camera phone. Now, here's what's cool about this. This was designed to be a one-cable solution. So no matter what type of product you're using, again, a DSLR or a phone, that you can just use the single cable. Of course, if you're connecting it to a phone, you'll need to get some sort of adapter, such as this microphone lightning adapter that would be used for an iPhone. That's not included. Now, the way it was designed to be used, that this would plug into the main unit, and you would have, there would be an automatic setting. Instead of having to select TRS or TRRS, it would automatically detect the device that it was connected to. Well, evidently that didn't work out too well, because the initial reviewers were reporting just a lot of overmodulation, static, or whatever when using this on a DSLR, such as the one I'm using right here at GH5. So when I opened the package, in fact, this was not in this package. This was packed separately inside the shipping box, and I'll point, this thing came directly from China. So when they were packaging this, they made an inline change. They put in a 24 dB attenuator cable. Now, this cable is designed to be used with DSLRs such as the GH5. And when you go into the settings menu, you should be setting it to TRS. It would be nice, while this thing has that great display, You know, if this is a consumer or prosumer product, a lot of people don't know what TRS or TRRS means. If they could just set phone or camera on there. But, you know, they included this. We're using that cable now. Let me point out, I was a little miffed when I saw that cable because it looked like it was kind of homemade, and because it was stuffed separately, it's an inline change. I was also miffed because when you look at other 2.4 gigahertz microphones, remember, you need to look at the entire market. Instead of using a flat cable, they're using a nice coiled cable. Here's the one on the Sennheiser. Here's one on another competitor, the Rode Wireless Go. Even the Ceramonic, which I'm using on the other camera back here. That's my second camera back there. Even that one has a coil connector. Now, getting further into it, of course, you have a quick start guide. Oh, one thing I neglected to say. Here's one of the great benefit. Anybody who's ever owned a wireless microphone will appreciate this, whether it's a single channel or a double channel. This is a one cable charging solution. This is, I believe it's a micro USB. It plugs into an adapter. It's not included, the little power adapter, but this charges both the PicoStream and the two Pico mics simultaneously. That is a great thing. Now, granted, they tried to get that with the single cable for attachment. My understanding, while this is version 2, version 3 will have a cable designed to work for both. You'll still need that type of adapter. Also included is a little cold shoe mount that screws into the bottom of the unit. I'm not using that. I'm using one that has a tilt feature on it so you can see it from my B camera that's rolling back there. Out-of-box experience was pretty good. There is a recommended firmware update on the included literature here. One of the best things that it tell you here is to read their FAQ or to look at their online manual. That way they can keep it updated, although it really wasn't updated for the version that I was using. Now, the broad overview of this is a dual channel system, meaning if you're in a situation where you're doing an interview, you have one on yourself and the other on another person, that it's all in one on the receiver side. These microphones are called transmitters. The unit that goes on your camera or phone is a receiver. This is just fantastic. The other thing I need to point out is that unlike some units, for example, the Ceramonic Blink, another unit that I really like because of the value aspect of that you can get a 2-channel system for $250. Let me point out, this is, you know, almost twice the price at $450. That this, you have the ability of splitting both of these channels into your left and right channel. Now, why is that important? It's important that if you're interviewing somebody and your voice levels are, you know, at different levels. If you have one person talking loud and one person talking soft, in post-production, you can adjust those levels. That's a really nice feature of this. You also can send it to a dual mono. You can use this one mic, as I'm using now. I have this mic muted, or you can use it as 2 mics. Everything charges. It's very easy to use. I did talk to the PicoGear folks. You know, some people have talked about you can't replace the batteries. I don't know how you would on something like this. But I asked them about, you know, these things are so small that they're easy to lose. I said, okay, if you lose it, do you have replacements available, and how much do they cost? They said, we don't have replacements yet. They're planning on adding that in. They will be $99, and they're fairly easy to pair back up. So for $100, if you lose one, well, that's not too bad. So when you add that up, that's $100 per mic times 2. That's $200 for the mic. That leaves $250 left for the actual PicoStream unit. Oh, let me point this out. This is kind of interesting. You know, both of these mics, when not in use, nest into the PicoStream unit. Now, here's what I found out. These mics, they need to go in the exact same way. Now, you'll notice that each mic, and I don't know if you can see it here, they have different color LEDs. I believe one is red and one is blue. The one that blinks red needs to go into the red slot, and the one that's blue needs to go in the blue. Now, the problem is, since they kind of snap in magnetically, which is very good, If you put them in upside down, they'll still snap, but they're not charging and they haven't killed the mic. On the back of these are these, three little kind of gold recessed charging ports or connector ports. These need to be lined up. The other thing I noticed that if you don't put them in the right one, they just might not mute. When I say that there's rooms for improvement, what would have been nice if there would have been a little notch or something in the design so they can only go into the PicoStream unit one way? Well, that would probably cause a little bit less confusion. Make it more like a puzzle piece. Now, these are 2.4 gigahertz microphones. And let me tell you, as I showed you a moment ago, I played with the Sennheisers, I've been using the Rhodes, I've been using the Ceramonics, and they all have their pros and cons. Now, in the past, not in the past, even now, if you want to use a good quality wireless microphone, you would get systems such as, this one from Sennheiser. You also have, and that's a single channel unit. Here's a dual channel unit from Sony. Now, these use UHF bands. Now, let me tell you what the good news and bad news on these are. The bad news is, compared to this transmitter or microphone, look at the size difference. This is huge. To my mind, you're going to get a better quality off of something like this. There's only so much audio you can get into these tiny little microphones that rest on the lapel right here. The other thing, you're going to get a much more reliable range. A lot of people are talking about 2.4 gigahertz, and when they're reviewing, they get out and they get in the parking lots and they go to see how far they can go. If that's what you're looking for, if you want to take this thing 250 to 300 feet and have a reliable signal, that's not what this mic is designed for. I guess I'm kind of putting on my editorial hat, and I'll say, who is this or any 2.4 gigahertz microphone designed for? Someone like me, I'm working at my desk. If I'm working, if a blogger is doing a kitchen piece, if you're going to be within 50 feet of your camera, this is a pretty good thing. Now, if you're going to go to a trade show where there's going to be a lot of 2.4 gigahertz microphones in place, well, you could have some problems. Now, while 2.4 gigahertz is in the Wi-Fi spectrum, there's always a limit to how many of these can be used. If there's not too many in place, and each manufacturer has a different number of how many of their units can be used. I've had all these connected simultaneously, and in my surroundings, with a few Wi-Fi connections, I really haven't had any problems on it. You really need to look what this is used for. Now, the other thing is, as compared to, the Sony or the Sennheiser unit, when you get to a trade show or something like that, one of the first things you need to do is to scan for clear frequencies. Well, 2.4 gigahertz doesn't do that. It channel hops, and it does so in a very, very quick manner. But if you think that you can get this, and you're going to get the same type of range of this, well, you're going to be out of luck. This thing, you can really go a long distance. You won't have to be facing directly to the camera. You could have this on, somebody on the rear side of somebody's belt. This, you want to keep this in line of sight with the transmitter and receiver, both seeing each other. You're within 50 feet, even a little bit longer, you're going to have pretty good results. Now, the other thing I really like about this is the form factor. If you're doing a two-camera shoot and you have two GH5s or two phones or whatever, you take your cameras, you take your tripods, and you take this little device. It's sized a little bit smaller than an iPhone. It's shorter than an iPhone, and just a little. It's about almost twice as thick. It's a little bit thicker. Now, there's been some issues about the settings, and with this new negative 24 dB attenuator cable, here's the settings that you're listening to right now, and I'll underline, yes, you're listening to the PicoMic paired with the PicoStream all throughout this video. I have the GH5 set to -12 on their audio, all the way down. GH5s are known for having a very, very hot microphone connection. The Pico output is set to -9, and that's with the new cable. And the microphone that you're seeing right here is set to +24. Now, if you get something like this, whether in post-production, you might want to tweak it with compressor. You know, in terms of the sound quality, I'm going to let you leave your comments below what you think about this. Now, I've already talked about range. The range affects battery life. Now, while it takes about 2 hours to charge, at least that's what it took me coming up. When I took out of the box, it was dead. At least, you know, it was all the way down to the bottom. It took about 2 hours. Now, battery life, this thing gets an A+. Here's what the manufacturer says. I have no reason to doubt it. Other reviewers have come up with some similar numbers. I did not do a long life battery test. You're going to get around 20 hours when the microphones are within 15 feet of the receiver. You're going to get about 10 hours if they're used at longer distances. Now, without getting technical, what happens as you get further, it's using more power. So 10 hours to 20 hours, that is really good. The setup on this took me around 10 minutes. Well, at least that's what I thought. Here's the problem on this. When I got this, it would have been simple. They said, okay, you're using this with a DSLR such as a GH5. Here's where your settings need to be. I didn't have that honor. I based it on what some other reviewers, what the settings they used, but I had a different cable than they were using. I'm using the new attenuator cable. I already put the settings up there of what I was using. On the iPhone, I found out that the PicoStream output being to -24 to 32 and the microphone being +18 to +24 delivered pretty good results. Okay, let's talk about sound quality. Now, I'm going to step on a limb and just guess that people are using this type of mic, or really any 2.4 gigahertz mic, are not going to be using this in a sound studio setting. I'm in my office, there's no acoustic treatments here. You hear what it sounds like. Now, if you've watched my previous videos and mic tests, you know that my living room has tall ceilings and it's a large room. It's like an echo chamber. Let's go see what it sounds like in that room. Okay, I'm in my living room. If you watch previous videos, I described this. I have tall ceilings. Now, this area does have some carpet. We have, you know, hard walls over here. It's a large room. You know, and without using a microphone that's clipped to you, any kind of lavalier or anything other than a built-in microphone, you would hear the echoes. So the question to you, how does this sound? This is a living room example. Now let's go in and go outside. I'm about 50 feet away now, and I'm walking toward the camera. The microphone and receiver are facing each other. Remember what I said before, if you're around 50 feet away and you can turn where the microphone is not facing the receiver, well, then I think you're doing a pretty good job here. And as you can see, well, again, I'm not listening to it. I won't hear it till I play back. It sounds pretty good. But this is what it sounds like outdoors. Now, earlier today, I was outside when it was windy, and you do have to be careful on this. I'm sure at some point the PicoGear will come up with some sort of solution for that. Okay, let's go back to the office, and we have the summary, and I have the ratings, and I'm going to tell you whether or not to buy this microphone system. Okay, now it's time to give this a rating. Here's what I've done. I've come up with 10 different points. Each point is equally rated at 10 points for a total score of a possible 100. The out-of-box experience, I'm giving it a 9 with an asterisk. The asterisk being they kind of dropped in the attenuator cable. Now, that's both good and bad. That was an inline change. I give them credit for it, but the cable wasn't put at the manufacturer, and the instructions for using the levels were not that good. It charged in 2 hours. There was a firmware update. The firmware updates, when you go to their site, are simple to install, and the instructions were good. However, it's kind of a negative on the firmware. Since at this point, when you're buying it directly from the manufacturer, there's now been 2 firmware updates in the 10 days or 2 weeks I've owned this, that it would be nice if they could send you an email out saying, hey, there's a firmware update. Here's a link to go get to it, and here's what changes or improvements this will do to your system. They aren't doing that. Also, out of the box experience, the mics and transmitters were prepared, and the online manual is pretty good. I wish that they would have the settings for commonly used cameras and phones up there, because that took me a lot of time of experimentation to find exactly the right level. So that's a 9 on the out-of-the-box experience. The build quality, I give this thing a 9. This thing's fairly durable. You know, these things, if you drop them, whatever, well, you're going to lose them before you break them. I'm not too concerned about the non-replaceable battery because, you know, you start adding things. They did this to make this thing small. I'm giving that a 9. The overall design and innovation, I'm giving that an 8. The case, as stated, is smaller than a standard size iPhone, only a bit thicker. And even with the case, you know, this carrying case here, this thing is really easy to transport. Okay, the color screen. I didn't talk about that. They have a great color screen. It's easy to see, of course. It's easier to see indoors than outdoors, but it's still workable. And you can change the settings for your mics, for the output to the camera. You got all sorts of good settings. You can turn one mic on, you can turn the other mic off, you can have it into where the stereo signals are split or your microphone signals are split or merged into a dual mono situation. My negative on that was the mics need to be inserted properly in their designated slots. So I gave that an 8. 2 points out. This would be nearly perfect on this category if they would make this like a puzzle as stated in the review. Okay, accessories, I give it an 8. You know, they have a 1 cable charging solution. That is wonderful. That should be worth a 10 on its own. However, the supplied audio cable, again, it looks like it's a homebrew system made in somebody's basement. It's designed to where the 1 connection cable will work for everything. They're just not there yet. They said that there will be a great improvement. And number 3, that's with my communication with them via email. Battery life, I'm giving it a 10. Bar none, it's just a 10. The range, I'm going to give it a 9. It's good for a 2.4 gigahertz. Again, you're not going to get 300 feet and be able to spin around in circles and have this out of line of sight. In my mind, if you can get 50 feet, maybe 60 to 75 feet, and can turn to where your mic and your receiver are not in line of sight, and do that without dropping a signal, that's very good. Ease of use, I'm going to give this a 5. Now, don't shoot me. The good news and the bad news. There's too many choices. Now, they say that this is a professional system. I would call this not a professional system, a prosumer solution. If they had some better instructions or if they put a couple more categories on their screen, maybe it will become more of a consumer product. So ease of use of 5, there's just too many choices. Strange cable. The other thing is no phone tech support when I communicate with them via email. They got back to me within a day of each one with really good, straightforward answers. I never got in a situation where I'd asked the same question 3 times. Their communications were clear, concise, and within a day of each one. But they also told me that there's a small company. There's no plans for phone tech support at this time, so ease of use of 5. Versatility, I'm giving it a 6. Number 1, the mic size. The mic size is just absolutely tiny. But as others have pointed out, and I really hate to take away points for it because it really doesn't matter to me, there's no slot in here for an external microphone like you'll see on other units, you know, the Ceremonic, which includes microphones, or the Rode, which allows a microphone to be connected. Of course, the Sennheiser includes their microphones, and, you know, they're a major player in the microphone business. There's also no wind protection. That would have been so easy. Put one of those little fuzzy little dead cat things. I hate that word. If they would have put something on here that could protect it. Here, I put it out in the wind. You can hear what that sounds like. Just a little breeze here. I'm going to face the breeze. Nice Florida breeze here. You know, that would have been pretty cheap. I'm going to make a broad assumption that that would be an accessory they drop in later. In terms of versatility, it's really good for a DSLR, but I think it's a little bit too complicated for a phone. If you're going to use a phone, I'm going to recommend going to the Ceremonic Blink 500, the one that has the DI system. I'll put a link to that one up here. But for a DSLR, it's pretty good. So I'm giving it a 6, only because it's not great for a phone. It is pretty good for DSLR. Sound quality, I'm giving it a 7. You be the judge. You're listening to it right now. I think it's just a little bit tinny when I compare it to the Saramonic again, when it costs a lot less, $250 for a 2-channel system. Probably because, the built-in microphone. I think that one sounds better. It is a larger unit. Value. I'm giving it a 6. The Pico system, PicoGear, PicoMic, PicoStream, whatever you want to call it, is $450 for a dual-channel system. They're back-ordered at the time of this video. You just got to take the luck of the draw. You can't really pre-order and get in line. $450. A Rode for a single-channel system is $278. So compared to the Rode, this is a really good value. The Sennheisers are $350. But I got to tell you, the game changer on here, and I'm not on their payroll, I like products that deliver a good value, is the Saramonic. So I'm giving it a value of a 6. That gives us a total of 77 out of 100, and that's a C+. And before we get on my case, as I said up front, this thing is truly innovative. I am looking forward to following up with them and seeing what they have coming out in the future. It is not perfect. It is not for everybody. It is a solution for people who want something that's fairly easy, but they need to be able to read the directions. It's not a pop out of the box and plug and play product. It does require some setup. I think C+, for a first offering from a new company, is really good. Now, big question. Should you buy it? Well, I can't answer that for you. Would I buy it again? Like if I needed 2 more microphones, would I have a 4-mic system on 2 cameras? I probably will, but I'll wait till they go at least another generation. I already own this unit, so I'll play. I think they're going to get their act together just based on how quickly they sell out. But truly, PicoGear is a company to watch. Now, every time I do a video, there's always stuff that I forget to put in here. So go to GadgetGuru.com. There's a link right down here. And remember, the easiest way to keep posted my new stories and videos is simply like us on Facebook at facebook.com/GadgetGuru. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff right here on YouTube. One more thing. If you like this video, you're going to like this one. And if you like that one, you're going to like one of these. That's it for now. I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr.